Now, Chancellor Rishi Sunak is not expected to increase Britain's defence budget this week, despite the war in Ukraine and the calls from cabinet colleagues to do so. The Chancellor said that a £24 billion investment announced last year had already elevated Britain to the second largest NATO spender. That money took Britain's defence spending to slightly over the 2% of GDP NATO asks for. Well, joining me now is former British Defence Intelligence Officer Philip Ingram. Welcome to the programme. I suppose the UK has been above that 2% for quite some time, although there have been allegations of accountancy trickery to get us there, including pensions and the like. What do our international allies think of our spending?
Well, our international allies look at our spending and they can't match it. They haven't for a large number of years. The United States would always like us to spend more. It would be good if we could spend more and more could be allocated. However, I also think it's important that the Ministry of Defence spends the money that it's got much more wisely. There's an awful lot of taxpayers' money is wasted. And I think from a Chancellor's perspective, until the MOD learns to become more efficient in the way it spends taxpayers' money, it's not the best to give it even more.
It's such an interesting prospect when we look at these percentage targets for spending, whether it's on the military, whether it's on foreign aid or anything else. Potentially a percentage target for spend rather than looking at what exactly it is we want to spend that money on. The need to spend the money in the first place might be leading to waste.
Well, the percentage target it doesn't really mean anything. It's deployable capability and it's the ability to influence things, whether that be from a deterrent perspective. And remember, we are one of the few deterrence nuclear powers in the world, and that's expensive. A power projection perspective. So that's the ability to take your military, take it to anywhere in the world to influence something and do what you want with it, whether it be humanitarian or whether it be war fighting. And we can do that with the power projection blue water navy we've got. We can do that with the capability that we have within the Air Force. The Army is lacking a lot of ability to do that with heavier equipment. It can do it with a very light capability. And it's working out what it is that we want to do and how many of those things we want to do simultaneously. And that's where the real debate comes in. We're losing the art of the high-intensity conflict with the very heaviest equipments, especially in the Army, but a lot of that's the Army's fault.
Of course, traditionally, the United Kingdom has been focused on its Navy and latterly its Air Force. We've never had a particularly large standing army in this country, although now the standing army has been reduced to below 100,000 people. Is that just sort of fitting in with our history, or is that something to worry about?
I think it's something to worry about because no matter what you do with the Navy and with the Air Force, it comes to the ability to take and hold ground. You know, the numbers that the Russians have got attacking into Ukraine are staggering when you look at them on paper. However, there's not sufficient numbers there to properly take Ukraine and then to hold it after they've done it. And you know, that is there's the straight numbers, the straight pieces of equipment game in that. And the Army is probably much below its optimal level for doing anything effective at high-intensity warfighting capability, outside much more than a cobbled-together brigade structure. You know, I'm a product of the Cold War. We used to be able to put a corps of a number of divisions out in Germany to face the Russians, and all of them were armoured. Our capabilities were huge compared to what we have today. And the threats today are much more complex and much more varied. So we do need to get a better golf bag of capabilities sitting there. And that will take investment, but it will also take the military being more efficient in the way they spend the money that they're given.
I suppose these are never simple questions to answer. Yes, spending is important, but efficiency too. For now, former Defence Intelligence Officer Philip Ingram, thank you for joining us this morning on The Briefing. Really good to get your perspective there.